Welcome back to Wicked Kitchen, guys. Today we're gonna make a portobello shawarma packed with flavor, lots of spices in here. I have a tzatziki, a harissa, with all of these herbs and fresh vegetables in here. Absolutely delicious. Make sure you stay tuned. I'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna make this shawarma with portobello mushrooms. Okay, typically shawarma, it's a Middle Eastern dish, and it's typically pressed stacked meat that is in a cone shape that's basically shaved off. Instead, we're just gonna press these, we're gonna coat them with a little bit of spice blend, pan sear them up, and we're gonna serve it with all sorts of goodies, some cucumbers, some mint, a little bit of yogurt sauce, some harissa. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. So to start off this recipe, I like to use the basic portobello. You know, you can certainly use any other mushrooms. You can use, you know, the clustered oysters. You can use maitake mushrooms, which works really well. But everyday portobellos is a great way to work with this recipe. Very meaty, absolutely delicious. And I'm gonna cut these stems off and just use them for another recipe. I'll never discard them. They're great in soups and stews and sautés. I'm gonna add some oil to these mushrooms, all right? It's gonna absorb a good amount of this oil. I'm gonna get the pan ripping hot. You wanna add some oil to the pan, okay? Place those portobellos. Get a smaller one. All right, we have another cast iron pan we're gonna place on top. Because these are so dense, it's gonna take a little while for them to actually press, all right? So just like cluster mushrooms, when we work with clusters, Derek has done this in a ton of other videos, we work with clusters and you immediately apply pressure. We don't do that with portobellos. The reason for that, portobellos are really, really dense, and if you press them before they soften, they're gonna break and they're gonna crack in half and you're gonna not have a full steak. So we're gonna basically let the weight of the pan start to press them as they start to cook. This is a little time consuming, so what I like to do is I press the mushrooms first. So we're gonna move forward with this process. The weight of the pan, as they start to soften, I'll flip them, they'll soften again on the other side, and then I slowly start to press. These are gonna condense almost by half, okay? And the reason that we love these condensed style mushrooms is it condenses all the fibers, it pushes out the water, and it makes the mushroom experience so much more meaty, okay? The reason that a lot of people do not like mushrooms, because there are certain people that don't like mushrooms, it's because the mustiness that like the water content of mushrooms has. So when you press that out, you get really getting that meatiness, that juiciness of the cooked mushroom. So I'm just gonna slowly start pressing it. So this is gonna be a process, probably about 8 to 10 minutes total for the portobellos. I have 3 in the pan right now. You wanna make sure your fan is on when you're doing this in the house. All right, so we're gonna flip this over in just a little bit. Check those out. Flip those over, starting to get a little bit of water release. There'll be a lot more water release on this side. So you can see, as these start cooking, they start releasing more water, okay? And so they start condensing. And the key is to keep the weight of the pan on them so it slowly starts to release the water. And then, as you start seeing some liquid come out of the mushrooms, then you start pressing. Oh, this is looking good. Look at that. Freaking yum, huh? So I'm just flipping them. I'll flip them probably once or twice. Maybe more for the larger mushrooms. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to release as much water as I can from these portobellos. All right, so you know these are ready when as you press them, you don't see any more water being released, or there's very little water being released. Let's check them out. One more last push. Let's check that out. A little bit more water in there. You never want to dump out the water. You always want to keep that water in the pan. These are almost there. Those look so good. They smell good. So meaty. Do once more. All right, these are good to go. All right, let's do the others now. See, they're nice and flat, and you've released a ton of the liquid. I mean, just in comparison, look at the size of this mushroom compared to this one, right? So there's so much water being released. We're gonna add 2 more mushrooms on and let these cook. All right, let's check these out. These are finished. That looks so good. Look at those. Look at how pressed those are. So incredibly nice. All right, so look at the density of those. Incredible. How much water that it really presses out. And all that water is released, it's all kind of caramelized around the outside of them. And it just intensity of mushroom flavor. Just so incredibly meaty. All right, let's put those mushrooms aside. We're going to make this incredible, really, really seasoned shawarma seasoning. So we're gonna start off with a little bit of cumin, okay? Cumin, some paprika, not smoked paprika, some paprika. Let's do all that. Okay, a little bit of cayenne for those that like heat. Add some cayenne in there. I have a little bit of cinnamon as well. Let's do a little bit there. And then I have onion granules. All right. Last, we're gonna mix with a little bit of dried oregano. Make sure you're kind of crushing the dried herbs as you're using it. And some sea salt and pepper. All right, some black pepper. So typically with the shawarma seasoning, you can also add some dried ginger in there, which is really nice. But this will just give these meaty mushrooms such an amazing, nice flavor. So once that is mixed up, we're gonna heavily season the mushrooms now, okay? So we're gonna go on both sides. Okay. Make sure it's in all those little crevices. Let's flip those over. Do the same thing on the back side. Use the rest of that seasoning. So good, it smells so good. So we're gonna season these up. You're gonna pretty much blacken these. We're gonna throw them back in a pan and really blacken them nicely. So, all right, these are good to go. You can make sure you get all of that seasoning. You don't wanna waste any of that. So we're gonna heat up a pan on medium heat. Use olive oil as well. Another option for these, if you wanted to minimize the oil, is you can just throw them on a grill as well. Maybe use a little bit of spray oil. I like adding the butter here just for this added richness. Okay, so let's get that nice and warm. Oh, it looks so good. So much flavor going on in these. So let's see how many we can fit in here. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna saute those up. While those are cooking, we're gonna make a quick tzatziki, all right? Tzatziki is a yogurt sauce. I love serving this with the yogurt sauce. You can also serve this with a tahini sauce as well. But I like the combination of a yogurt sauce with like a harissa. It's a nice chili paste, which we'll speak about in a bit here. We also have an amazing harissa video right here. If you click on this link, one of my favorite condiments to have on hand, North African condiment. So we're starting off with some plain yogurt. And this is Kite Hill, which is one of our favorites when it comes to plain yogurt. There's a lot out there, but Kite Hill is the cleanest in my opinion. All right, so we have some plain yogurt here. Let's mince up some mint. You can add some paper thin cucumbers to this as well, but really a nice tzatziki is a little bit of garlic, some mint. I love using a little bit of lemon zest in there. You already have the acidity from the yogurt, but the lemon zest just really ties it together with freshness. Really just makes it pop. You get the richness of those portobellos. Let's check on those right now, actually. So that is good. Let's flip those over. Getting nice and blackened on each side. Oh, smells so good. Okay, let's cook those for another minute. We have 1 clove of garlic. Probably use just probably half of this. There's a big clove here. Clove of garlic going in there. I'm gonna add some salt, okay? And that is it. Just gonna stir that up. It's so cooling, especially in a warm pita. And let's prep the other ingredients. So I have some cucumbers here. I'm gonna slice some cucumbers. We have some cherry tomatoes. These are beautiful on the vine cherry tomatoes. So this is so nice. You can put this in a pita or you can just serve it as a big salad. All right, a little bit of parsley, some fresh parsley I picked from my garden this morning. So you have these mushrooms. These have been pressed, as we talked about, super, super meaty. We added that really, really aromatic spice blend, that shawarma spice blend. Now I'm gonna slice these thin. Slice these thin to go in the pita. So I wanna make sure your knife is nice and sharp because you wanna slice these super thin. That's really the benefit of pressing them. You can get incredibly thin. And that spice blend is very, very strong, but you're having such thin slices. It's absolutely delicious and works so well within the pita with all these other flavors. So let's just slice those up thin. So good. I wish you guys could smell this through your computer. So delicious. So again, you could use tofu in this case. You could use seitan if you wish. You can use any other kind of mushrooms. You could even use celeriac, butternut squash. Get creative, you know? It's all about having fun, using these recipes as formulas, making them your own. So we have that beautiful sliced, crusted, pressed portobellos. Let's go ahead and make a couple of these pitas. So we have some warm pita. Let's start with plenty of that yogurt sauce. Some arugula, really sharp, just a sharp bite, some freshness. You can use butter lettuce, little gems, any other green you wish. We have the star of the show right here, that portobello shawarma here. Oh, so good, so good. I cannot wait. A couple tomatoes, so nice. Finish that with some parsley. And if you like the spice, load it up with harissa. Yum, so good. All right, there you have a portobello mushroom shawarma. So nice. This is one of those mushrooms everybody can find. I know you can get these in your local grocery, unlike those clusters, which are a little bit more difficult to find. Super easy, super delicious, tons of flavor in these, and it's a great meat substitute. Instead of reaching for that other plant-based protein, go for some mushrooms, portobellos, super easy to find. One of my favorites. Hope you enjoy it.